Hey everyone, I'm Tony George. He's Griffin Murphy. We're DocSports.com, the dynamic duo that makes up the Gridiron six-pack. 3 college, 3 NFL free plays for you here today. How you doing, Griff?
Tony, I'm doing great, but I did want to quickly congratulate you on that college basketball 7-unit winner last night on Eastern Michigan. I went and tailed that thing, put a nickel on it, woke up this morning very happy. I was going to text you last night, but didn't want to piss you off at 11 o'clock at night. I figured Mr. George was in bed asleep.
I was celebrating that and watching the free play winner come in on Michigan State outright. Never give Tom Izzo points this time of year in a big game. A lot of good news in college basketball. I did not do well in football last weekend. I got my ass handed to me. Get that elephant out of the room right away. We'll bounce back this week with some minimal low unit cards for you. And I'm sure Griff will have something for you as well this upcoming. I know you did well in the NFL last week. Let's go ahead and get to the free plays this week. It's getting down to the nitty gritty. Louisville taking on SMU in a big one in the ACC. A couple of 7-3 teams going at it. Louisville, last couple of weeks, they were in the hunt for the ACC. They were in the hunt for the playoff. They lost to Clemson by 1 last week in a thriller. Kind of grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory. The week before that, they lost to Cal, which just scares the shit out of everybody. SMU, who, by the way, beat Clemson, who beat Miami, are at home laying 2.5 points, total 52.5. They're off a win against BC, common opponent, both of them who's not beaten BC. But BC almost beat Georgia Tech last week in a shocker. But they were able to pull that out. I think that was an overtime win. But at day's end here, they did beat BC a lot better than Louisville did. I don't know what's going on with Louisville. SMU at home here, Griff. How do you see it?
Yeah, Tony, this is an interesting matchup for me. Obviously, we got a total sitting at 53.5, which gives us a little bit of an incentive that points will be scored in this matchup. Then SMU at home laying 2.5 points. We've got 2 teams rolling into this matchup, both 7-3 on the season. And as you mentioned, in their most recent matchup for Louisville, coming off a loss to Clemson at home, that game landed in a 2019 final. That was a Friday game, so we could definitely take some speculation off of that matchup, as a lot of people like to carry that stuff over into the following week. Another thing that I do want to touch up on about Louisville, their defense is very primed. I will say that. But at the same time, they dealt with Clemson's Cade Klubnik last week. He is not a poised dual threat quarterback. He's a one-step type of quarterback who just uses his arm, utilizes it, and throws rocket launchers. He could be very good from time to time, but at the same time, inconsistent. We talked about this on Doc's Daily yesterday about the advantage of having a faster college football quarterback. Well, for SMU, they've got Jennings at their quarterback spot. This kid is a dual threat, and he is faster than all hell, and I love this type of situation. Coming off a sequence where Louisville just lost to Clemson, dealing with Cade Klubnik, now going into preparation for this week, having to deal with Jennings in the backfield, dual threat, that completely confuses defenses and throws them way off their toes. So Louisville practicing all week, watching film, their game plan is going to be, how do we slow down Jennings? Now for SMU, they have a completely different approach. That's just stick to our game plan and keep winning games. I love the head coach at SMU. I love the way they're playing right now. Give me SMU here on the money line to get it done over Louisville outright in this matchup, and I'm throwing away the 2.5 points. I'm not getting beat by a hook in this one, Tony. But let's shift on gears here.
What's the money line in that? Like 140?
140, 145. Shop your lines. Always,
okay,
as Lenny likes to say in the back. Let's shift gears here. I like this game a lot. Curious to hear your take on this one. We've got Kansas rolling into Iowa State. Iowa State laying 4.5 points. We've got a total sitting at 55. Kansas, very underrated at 500, I will say. 5-5 record this season. Now Kansas, coming off a bye, must add in this matchup, dropping to Arizona in their most recent matchup. That game landed in a 24-20 final. Arizona, in my eyes, might be better than expected with some solidified wins, including a win over Cincy last week. Tony, Curious to hear your thoughts on this one with Kansas rolling into Jack Trice to play the Cyclones.
Well, your old alma mater, Iowa State, before they ran you out of Ames on a rail car, like 4.5 here, total 55. Iowa State had lost 4 in a row till they beat TCU last week in a shocker. Kansas has owned this the last 3 years. They beat Iowa State 3 years in a row. That loss at Arizona, that one could have went either way. I watched that game. A matter of fact, I had Arizona laying 5.5, and they only covered that. They missed the cover. It was a Friday night game, I think. Before that, Kansas beat Oklahoma State. But what is most concerning is the 2 games before that, they both lost 42-17, Texas Tech. And a game I went to, I went over to Lawrence and watched them play Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown. It's about 30 minutes from my house. Kansas State, who, in my opinion, is not all that good. I know they got Avery Johnson, and it's a rivalry game, so you kind of throw out the record books. It's like Ohio State playing Michigan, or Georgia playing Florida in the world's largest cocktail party. One of those big rivalry games. But I was shocked at how Kansas State dominated them, and Leopold got his ass coached off in that game. Now, Campbell's a good coach. This is not the same Iowa State team that got to the Big 12 championship last year and let Cam Scattaboo beat him in the waning minutes of that championship game for Arizona State to move on. That being said, give me the under 55. This is going to be a tight ball game. Neither one of them is real explosive on offense, especially Iowa State. Even with that quarterback, they just have not been able to put up points with him like you think they would. He's a good quarterback. Quarterback. But at day's end, I can't back 4.5. And this has turned into a little bit of a rivalry. They don't like each other. It's going to be a tight ball game. I think it brings points into play. But when I saw Kansas in person, I was shocked at how sloppy they were.
Sure.
And it concerns me. It concerns me a great deal. They had problems with Central Florida. But back in Iowa State here, I think the better play. This has got, I don't know, 24-20,
sure,
2017 written all over it. Cold weather over the weekend up there at Jack Trice. The one thing about this game is you and I both know, and you being an alum up there, both Hilton Coliseum and Jack Trice Stadium, they are strong home field, home court. People don't realize that. You talk about Big 12 basketball, Fog Allen, playing down in Lubbock. No. Go play at Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa on a Thursday night. Yeah, good luck. So that being said, I'm going to take the under 55 in this one. I think it'll be a knockdown, drag out, close one. A Kansas State cover or Kansas State loss by 3 wouldn't surprise me, Griff. They've also got a dynamic quarterback in Daniels there. So, he can make some plays like you mentioned in the previous game. Backus is a throwing quarterback, stands in the backfield. This guy for Kansas, dual threat, runs all over the place. He can break one for 30 in a second and turn a game around. 3rd and 3, spread him out, and the next thing you know, he's scampering down the field, and we like to say on the loose.
Yep.
It can really change. He's a momentum changer, which gives me pause in laying 4.5, even up at Jack Trice. Give me the under. Missouri at Oklahoma. Oklahoma off a huge win. You worry about this game a little bit, although I like to say sandwich.
Sure.
Bama, LSU on deck, Missouri in the middle. LSU is not the LSU we all thought they were going to be. Now they're minus a head coach. They're spending most of their time trying to court Lane Kiffin. which I think it'd be a huge mistake if he left Ole Miss to go there. But Missouri, interesting. This is only the third road game all year long for Missouri. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And they're off an ass kicking of Mississippi State last week, my only winner in college football last week. I think you had Mizzou too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if
I faded it. I free played it.
Oh, free played it. I thought they would take care of business. Big win against Alabama. I thought they beat Alabama in all three phases. Mateer's getting healthier.
Yeah.
Very dangerous quarterback. Missouri still on the second stringer. Missouri, not one to be trifled with, however. They do have a defense and they do have a run game. This is an interesting spot, laying over a touchdown against a Missouri team that, Griff, by the way, over the last 3 years has had the third best record in all SEC games, only bettered by Bama and Georgia. Interesting spot here for Mizzou on the road.
Yeah, Tony, I really like this game. So what catches my attention is that total low at 42.5. That gives us a market incentive that this is going to be a limited point scoring game. And then you have that line currently sitting at -7.5. So something a lot of people overlook, and this is what I'm going to talk about. This isn't the greatest example. I will give one out. We'll try to throw one in one of the Gridiron six-pack shows in the next few weeks. But something called the market wipeout. So Oklahoma laying 7.5 points here. In these marquee matchups, a lot of people overlook the tease. In a situation like this now, if you were to tease Oklahoma down, you'd get them at -1.5. That's still an ugly tease. If you were to tease Missouri up, you get them at +13.5. So that's still an ugly tease. So in this situation, I am not incenting any market wipeout plays in this game. What I am looking at here is strictly against the spread and the total. Due to the fact that we have a total at 42.5, we know this is going to be a defensive war going into this game. Oklahoma, as mentioned, coming off a massive win over Alabama in their most recent matchup. And then Missouri, as you mentioned, them coming off a huge win off of their most recent matchup against Mississippi State. They drilled them at home in a 49-27 final. That was with Matt Zollers at the quarterback spot. He will be getting the start. As far as I know, Purbuella right now is questionable, potentially not going to be getting the start. So Zollers will be getting the start in this game. So you have a sequence like this. We saw Missouri get exploited on the offensive side, and that was 2 weeks ago against Texas A&M, where they went out and absolutely buried them. They didn't get exploited defensively. They actually exploited Texas A&M's offense. Where they did get exploited was on the offensive side, and that all comes down to Matt Zollers just being a youngster. This is brand new to him now in the bigs when it comes to college football. Now rolling into Oklahoma, nothing makes sense on the tees, so we can throw all of that away. We strictly can look at the point spread here. I believe this total is where it is due to the fact that this is going to be a tight game. Missouri does have a very strong defense, but I cannot back Matt Zollers in this situation. So with that being said, I don't believe this is a letdown spot for Oklahoma, despite them coming off a win off of Alabama. I believe that's a motivational kicker for them, and I believe they upspring that and bring that momentum into this week. I'm laying the 7.5 points here with the Sooners, as I believe they get it done over Missouri in this matchup with a young freshman quarterback. My apologies. But shifting gears now, let's roll on over to the NFL. We've got Jacksonville rolling into Arizona, play the Cardinals. Cardinals at home catching 2.5, total sitting at 47.5. Jaguars, they were my 6-unit best bet last week over the Chargers, and they absolutely lit up an overrated Chargers team. Now we have a very weird number in this sequence. Arizona's got blown out back-to-back games, and now their defense has been a complete cluster. Offensively, they got Brissett leading the charge. Catching 2.5 points here at home. Tony, very interested to hear your take on this one, defensively and at the quarterback position.
Well, defensively, Arizona's a mess. They're just giving up way too many points. I mean, if you compare the NFL to college basketball right now, everybody's aware there was a huge tournament in Madison Square Garden on Tuesday night where you had Michigan State taking on Kentucky. I took Michigan State in that game. It was a hard handicap because neither one of them had played anything but one good team. So you had one data point to work off of. In the NFL, we've got 13 data points to work off of. because, each week, and a lot of teams are Jekyll and Hyde, but I can't ignore allowing Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh coach team 8 first downs to 30, and allowing 135 yards to that offense. That's huge, and if you look at the stats offensively, Jacksonville, they weren't that impressive. Lawrence's numbers were nothing. Brissett put up 452 yards last week, but they can't run the ball. They miss Connors. This team is not playing as hard as what you think they are. All that being said, give me Arizona plus a 2.5.
I like it. I like it.
This is a woodpile game. Griffin and I like to talk about Weasel and the woodpile lines. This is one of them.
Yep.
Shocker. A shocker this weekend. Zona against the Jaguars. Give me Zona.
Love it.
In the upset. A lot of people might be using Jacksonville and their survivors that are standing this week because it's hard to use them. This looks tasty. I got news for you. Be careful. It's the NFL, which stands for not for long if you're looking at last week's results and banking everything this week on those results. Trust me. There's head scratchers every week. I'm going to go contrarian. Your Chicago Bears are 7-3. My Kansas City Chiefs are 5-5.
What happened?
Never thought I'd say that.
I never thought I'd hear it come out of your mouth.
The Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers with a broken wrist. Mike Tomlin said he'll release some information on Friday. I don't think he'll play with a broken left wrist. We'll see. I doubt it. So you got Mason Rudolph. You continue to get breaks as a Chicago Bears fan, and you continue to get breaks in the schedule. You had wins over Minnesota, who's got basically a rookie quarterback who's no good and overrated. You beat the Giants, the Bengals. You lost to the Ravens. You beat New Orleans, Washington, Las Vegas. Washington and Las Vegas were 1-point wins each. They both suck. And you beat Dallas. Well, okay. What have you done? Well, you've won the games against weak teams you were supposed to beat. Pittsburgh, it's a Mike Tomlin coach team. You're laying 3, total 45.5. Your Bears are 7-1 their last 8, Griff.
Yeah, Tony, it's crazy. As you mentioned, a lot of unsolidified wins on the Chicago Bears schedule, but a win is a win, and that is how the NFL and everybody else takes it and looks at it. So, sequence like this, I'm going to make some comparisons, and a lot of people are going to critic me for this, but this is just how it works. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're probably one of the worst covering teams against the spread for the last 3 years in NFL, and they had one of the best records, if not the best record in the NFL in their last 3 seasons. That is due to them being one thing. They close games out in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes. What do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do? They're a dynamic team. They always find a way to win games, yet they leave everybody in the game until the fourth quarter. Well, then they have Baker turn it on in the fourth quarter, and they go and win games. What are the Chicago Bears doing right now? Exactly that. They're not really covering the spread all that often, but they're leaving teams in games when they should be kicking the living shit out of them, blowing everybody out in the first half, and they're not doing it, getting into the red zone, not closing. But what they do, and Caleb Williams does best in the fourth quarter, they find a way to capitalize with points and win games, whether it's a game-winning field goal, whether it's a touchdown, I don't care. I hate getting on this show and sounding like a complete homer, but the reality is in this situation, the Bears right now on that -3, you can actually get them on the money line at -145, which is a very nice line when they're throwing -3 out. That is the play here. I would not lay the 3 points here with the Chicago Bears as they continuously screw up in the fourth quarter. But Ben Johnson's got this team rolling. As you mentioned, I believe they're 7-1 in their last 8 games. They're winning every single game in the fourth quarter. The momentum in the locker room couldn't be higher. The caliber of this team. And obviously, yes, you do have Pittsburgh coming in 6-4 on the year, and Mike Tomlin. He's been here and he knows how to win these games. But he's dealing with a backup quarterback, and I'm not going to take anything away from Mason Rudolph. He's a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's a good backup.
He sucks.
He's a good backup. He's a good backup. And his stats this year, 14 for 18 with 140 yards passing and a touchdown. Solid, and he's always okay. He's competitive. He keeps teams in games. The thing that interests me here is the total, and that's what scares me here. I believe that the market trapped this total out as a lower side because they believe Pittsburgh's defense is going to come into this game efficient. I'm not seeing it here. I lean that over on that total, but my play is take the Bears here on the money line, -145. Throw away the 3 points. If it gets over 155, I'd look at that total, and I'd probably lean towards the over in that one. But my play is take the Bears on the money line, eat the chalk, -145. But rolling into our last but not least, Tony, we got the teaser of them all. We got New England and LA. Let's hit it.
If it comes out on Friday that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play, that line's going to skyrocket. If you want to speculate, I'd bet him now. Because I don't know if Rodgers at age 42 is going to play with a broken wrist.
Sure.
I just saying.
Over 45.5 plan B.
Yeah, and their defense, and Mason Rudolph is a human turnover machine. Cost me the Circus Survivor when they tied Pittsburgh 4 years ago. I'm not even talking.
I remember the story.
I'm not even talking about that piece of shit. Okay, quickly, teaser. We'll get you out of here. New England, tease them down to -1.5 against Cincy. Why not? Cincy's terrible. New England, they have been privy to a very easy schedule this year. What have they done with that easy schedule? They beat all the teams they're supposed to beat. They even beat Buffalo. They're the leader in this division. This is a good football team. Drake Mason, NFL quarterback, and Mike Vrabel should get coach of the year. Yeah. You think they can beat Cincinnati? Yeah, by 1.5, yeah. And the LA Rams, unbelievable game last week. I had them laying 3. They win by 2. That was the story of my Sunday. Nonetheless, they're taking on Tampa Bay, laying 6.5. Tease them down to 0.5 point. I would say Tampa, I teased them last week to +12 or +11.5. They lose by 12. What shocked me last week about Tampa more than anything, how their defense got shredded.
Yeah.
They got shredded against Buffalo, who, in my world-famous saying, the week before against Miami, couldn't get laid in a monkey whorehouse fistful of bananas offensively. Well, I think they get shredded again. This Rams team's for real. This Rams team is for real. They just beat the #1 power-rated team in the NFL. In a division clash, rivalry, knockdown, drag out, last guy wins. Who's the strongest? The Rams are a team that are in contention for a Super Bowl. We'll go ahead and lay the 0.5 point with them. That's your picks this week, ladies and gentlemen. I have nothing to promote because I sucked Moose PP last week. I did not do good. I'm upset about it. The week before we did okay. The week before that we lost. I've been inconsistent this year, Griffin. So you're going to see some 4-unit plays for me this weekend, spread out over a low-volume basis. Doc Sports. You see the thing right up there. Free $60 for anybody who wants to come to the website and join up. Comes with a profit guarantee. Zero hassle. I'm a man of my word. Zero hassles. We'll give you a free $60. Griff, what's on the horizon this weekend?
Yeah, Tony, I hate doing it. After last week, I did have a bad Saturday. I lost my game of the year. I did go 1-1. I had a massive bounce back Sunday. I smacked Jacksonville as a 6-unit, and then I had a 7-unit prop on Caleb Williams rushing yards, and I drilled that as well. So rolling with momentum this week, I'm probably 6-2 across all sports rolling into today. Obviously, it's Wednesday. We've got momentum. I found a play on Saturday I absolutely love. It's at noon, 7-unit best bet. I've already circled it up and written the game out. If that line shifts, it could be a 6-unit, but if it stays stagnant, that will be my 7-unit. Rolling into NFL Sunday, I will have a 6-unit best bet at 1 p.m. That will decipher based on line movement. Again, remember, we record this on Wednesday, so if these lines change, obviously my units will defer. But as of right now, 7-unit on Saturday, 6-unit on Sunday. Locked and loaded, ready to roll, Tony.
Doc Sports Gridiron 6-pack. Thanks for tuning in.